Hi, I'm Eddie, and I'm going to be talking on behalf of Minus 18 Youth. Same-sex attracted and genderqueer young people have suicide rates 6 times higher than other young people. The Writing Themselves in Free 3 study found that 75% of same-sex attracted and genderqueer young people experience homophobic abuse, and 80% of these incidents are experienced in schools. My question to you, Mr. Minister, are how do you, your department and this government plan on improving the experiences of same-sex attracted and genderqueer young people in secondary schools, helping students who stand out against homophobia and supporting organisations who are assisting these brave young people in their endeavours?
Thank you. Good question. Okay. I'd like to answer that question just on 3 levels. In terms of a practical way, the Safe Schools Coalition is a group that are working with that group of young people, and that's about programs, it's about education, not only for the students but also the adults that interact with the students as well too. So their funding was due to run out this year, so we made when I learnt about what the coalition was doing, the sorts of work that they were doing, I also, in fact, I learnt more about the issue and how it's affecting young people, and I thought that was important. The high rates of youth suicide and self-harm and just disengagement from school from those young people, I think, was something that really worried me. So we've actually not only decided to continue the funding, we actually increased the funding for that group for the work that they were doing. So that's it on a practical level. Also, the issue of bullying, and these young people are often the victims of bullying as well too. So whether it be cyberbullying or bullying just in general as well too. We've also, one of my priorities has been to put more funding into the education and bullying programs, but the most important part of it is the education, so that students, parents and teachers all understand what bullying is, how it actually appears, how it affects people, why people might bully, how it actually affects the victims of the bullying as well too. So there's a number of research, there's a number of programs out there, but there's a lot more education that needs to happen, whether it be in the cyber field or just in the school playground. A lot of work still needs to be done in that area. So in the cyberbullying area, we're working with the Alana and Madeline Foundation, and they are doing some tremendous work. They've trialled a program across schools across Australia, and we're funding that for about $10.5 million, which will make not only help schools with their own programs, it'll be an ongoing relationship between the schools and the foundation to better equip the teachers and the schools to work on this issue. And then in a more general sense, I just think it's very, very important. So I was at a school today, and when I went, it was a primary school not too far from here. When I arrived at the school, the 4 school captains that were there to greet me, and they told me straight off what the values of their school were. And one of the main value which their whole school is built on is relationships and strong relationships. And that's what I think is very important. This is the key to this area. That if everybody values everybody, if you've got strong relationships amongst everybody, the give and take of relationships between students and teachers, teachers and students, teachers and teachers, everybody is involved in the school. If there's strong relationships, where there's strong respect for each other, and no matter who you are, and what you bring, and what your life experience is, and what your preferences are in whatever way, shape or form, that you are respected for being the person that you are. And if the school has got those sorts of values and they're practiced all the time, they're not just ticked off as, yes, we value people, it's where its value is actually lived out and which students experience it, where they see their teachers actually practicing it, that the whole school is built around respect. So in a perfect world, we shouldn't have to have special projects and special programs. We should have a whole school, we should have a whole system where everybody respects everybody no matter who they are and how different or how the same they might be. I think that's the bottom line, and that's what we should all, whether it's in our workplace or in our school, in our homes, in our community groups, we should have that value of respect being the overriding thing that drives it. So 3 levels, the bullying programs, the Safe Schools Coalition, and that idea of respect for everybody.
I'm Whitney, and I'm speaking on behalf of Ash Agnew. Some student councils are more concerned about appearing to create change than actually doing so, as they are not appropriately educating and raising awareness on issues concerning young adults. How can you promote and encourage genuine leadership from student representative councils from both students and coordinating teachers so that SRCs can be effective in raising awareness and acting progressively on issues?
I think Whitney's raised a great question there, and a really important one, because you can't be working as an effective organisation, whether it's an SRC or whatever it might be, if you aren't educated, if you aren't skilled in the role that you have got. So an SRC can only be effective if it's well skilled, if the young people within the SRC and the council have got the skills, the discussion skills, the group work skills, the communication skills, the listening skills to be able to listen, to identify problems and identify solutions, and then actually communicate their outcomes of their discussions to their school and their school council or principal. So I think that's building up the skill level is very, very important for the SRC members, but also I think the step before that is I think it's important that we as a department make sure that schools, the school leaders, and those who make the decisions, understand why it is important to have an SRC. Why is it important to have the student's view as an important part of the school processes? So I think that's where the education's got to start, and as I said before, there are a whole range of things happening out there. Some schools do this really, really well. Others haven't even started, and students don't have a voice. So it does vary from school to school. So I think those who need the skills, the teachers and the schools that need the skills, that's the first step. And then we need to working with, and there are no shortage of organisations and people who've got skills in group work and how to make an effective group work together. You know, like for example, an SRC, so they can get things done, they can communicate their ideas and also see through their ideas as well too. And I think that's probably one of the biggest holes in the whole thing is that students come up with great ideas, even practical solutions. If this is a problem, here is a solution, but actually seeing it through. And often you see the great ideas, everyone goes off and does this great new thing for about a month, a term, perhaps a year, and it just doesn't keep going. So it's very important that these things are seen through from year to year through the SRC at the same school, and there is some accountability on the school's part to actually ensure that these suggestions are actually seen through over a longer term. Because if you don't, sometimes the change takes a long while to happen. You know, it can't happen overnight.
My question today is, it is often noted that the best thing a teacher can do is to empower a student so that they may be in control of their own learning. With that in mind, what is the Victorian Government doing to ensure that students are given real voice within the school by encouraging and allowing them to join school councils, staff selection panels and other committees?
I'll give you the honest answer there. Not a lot, okay? I think, as I said, and I think it's a common theme here, that some schools are doing it really well. What I'm loath to do, though, is to give a whole lot of orders to schools and say, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to do this. My role, I see, is opening up the issues like the voice of students, the real voice of students, and the opportunities for the voice of students in schools, and helping schools realise that, educating them into how important that is, ideas about how it might work into school, what some of the good models are, what's happening that's working well in other schools and other systems, and giving that sort of information to schools so that they're convinced that this is a great thing to do. And I think this VicSRC is an important part of that as well too, because you have got a lot of practical experience and ideas of how schools can do the sorts of things that I think you and I all agree are in the best interests of the school. So I'm not going to write a letter to every school and say you have to have an SRC that operates in such and such a way, or you have to all have a student on a teacher selection panel. I'd much rather the school do it because they think it's important to do it and it's useful for them and it's good for the students and it's good for the school. So that's my job, that's the job of the department, is to get that view across and to help schools get to that, to actually get to that space. And some are there, as I said, others aren't. And our job is to get everybody there.